Hello everyone. Palliative care in COVID-19 patient. Palliation or palliative care is not new to us. Care of the dying has been a constant concern of human society. Palliative care with biopsychosocial, spiritual, active, holistic care. It is an approach that aims to promote physical, psychosocial, spiritual well-being of the patient, thus improving the quality of the patient as well as their families. Why palliative care in COVID-19 patients? The COVID-19 pandemic and its mitigation measures have resulted in a humanitarian crisis globally. WHO has reported an average death of 2 to 4% globally. The triage policies set accordingly to the local areas or the local institute might triage a subset of patients with severe COVID-related diseases to receive only supportive care. The patients who are not willing to or who are not able to receive aggressive intensive care should receive appropriate symptom management. Here comes the role of palliative care in COVID-19 patient. The care becomes more here. It is a total care. We aim at controlling their suffer, relieving their suffer by controlling the symptoms. Emphasizing, we have to emphasize more on psychosocial. Very important here, psychosocial. This disease is something very atypical related to any other end of life disease, where the physical presence of families around the patient, which gives lot of psychosocial support, which is not very unfortunate that here COVID-19 patients are not getting that particular care of the family here. So it is our duty to give them a total care through the psychosocial, spiritual, cultural, ethical care, so that we value every preference of that patients and give them a good, a peaceful, dignified death for the COVID-19 patient. Coming to the triage in COVID-19 patients. As we all know, the asymptomatic or mild cases goes to COVID care centers. Patients with moderate symptoms goes to COVID care hospital. Patients with a hypoxemia or a respiratory rate of high goes to who can be benefited by NIV or ventilator support goes to ICU. Patients who are not going to be benefited with the NIV or a ventilator support goes to a hospice or a palliative care centers. Here the palliative care starts for the COVID-19 patients. See, along with our psychosocial support is a major role, as I already told you. Here the biggest thing is family support physically is not with the patients. So the symptoms of physical symptoms gets aggravated more because of there is no support of the moral support, or the family near and dear ones are not near them. So the first physical symptoms which we are going to talk now is refractory breathlessness. The dyspnea is too much for the patient. It is very severe, not coming to control. That is because one is anxiety, and when patient realizes they are going to die soon, the anxiety level doubles up, triples up, or goes very high, and they are not able to meet their family, talk. They are not able to say bye-bye to the family properly at the end stage. So the breathlessness there becomes more refractory. So how do we manage them? The very important, as I've been telling you from that time, is non-pharmacological or a counseling or a psychosocial support becomes a major role. Talk to the patient. We have to make them to give a good positioning, calming the patients, teach them some relaxation technique, or a physical spiritual support will help them to some extent the breathlessness. When it comes to pharmacological, when it is moderate to mild to moderate, we can give morphine 2.5 to 5 milligrams orally, because mild patient may be able to take oral drugs. So we can give orally 4th hourly. If not, if patient is not ready to take oral or not able to take oral, then we can give 1 to 2 milligrams subcutaneously if patient is not taking orally. Subcutaneous route is the accepted route in palliative care. There is a minimal blood supply, so there is continuous delivery of the drug to relieve the symptoms. The next drug would be midazolam, 2.5 to 5 milligrams subcutaneously, can be given every 4th hourly, or lorazepam 0.5 to 1 milligrams sublingually for associated agitation or distress. These are all the pharmacological methods which can be used for refractory breathlessness. With all this, if it does not come down, then we can start a continuous infusion of morphine 10 milligrams and a midazolam 10 milligrams over 24 hours using a syringe dry pump or an infusion pump. This is all I spoke about in patient in ward or in a high dependency unit. When patient is in ICU, our non-pharmacological method continues, which requires a lot of counseling, calming the patient, relaxation, spiritual support, holistic, total care of the patient comes into picture. When it comes to pharmacological, again we can add here from fentanyl 25 milligrams subcutaneously or intravenously every second hourly. We can use midazolam 2.5 milligrams subcutaneously intravenously fourth hourly, or a lorazepam can be given to relieve the agitation. We can start continuous infusion of morphine. If this is not possible, then we can start continuous infusion of morphine or fentanyl 100 micrograms over 24 hours subcutaneously or IV infusion. Midazolam also can be given 10 to 30 milligrams subcutaneously or intravenously for continuous infusion over 24 hours. Then is significant and it is too severe, then rate is more and patient is about to die at the end of life. Then what do we do? Morphine is the best drug. We can give morphine, go on increasing the dose, escalating the dose of morphine. To 0.5 we can go up to 5, 10 milligrams. 10 milligrams can be given IV, or fentanyl we can escalate up to 50 micrograms. Then we can use midazolam, which can be repeated every 15 to 30 minutes until we see the improvement or patient gets some kind of relief of the symptoms and their sufferings come down. Then start continuous infusion if indicated, as I told already, with the morphine, fentanyl or midazolam. The next important physical symptoms which we have to consider in COVID-19 patients, there is secretions. As we know, it's already respiratory tract infection, there is increase in secretions. Increase in secretion is not a distressing symptom for the patient physically, but the collection of the secretions in the throat and patient is not able to swallow, what is called death rattle, the sound, and the patient breathing through the secretions gives a kind of sound which gives a lot of psychological distress to the patient as well as to the family or whoever is with the patient. So we have to think of counseling here and tell that this is not going to patient, it's not going to affect him like that. Only the psychological support is more required, and we can do some sections and all that. And here for pharmacologically, we can give glycopyrrolate 200 to 400 micrograms second hourly or fourth hourly IV or subcutaneous. Hyoscine butyl bromide 20 to 40 milligrams second hourly or fourth hourly IV or subcutaneous. Atropine ophthalmic drops also can be given sublingually every fourth hourly. So we need to talk to the patient as the healthcare professionals are in PPE kits. So communication is one more barrier here in COVID-19 patients, as not like any other cancer patients or at any other end of life diseases. Here with the COVID, with your PPE kit, you are not able to communicate well, your voice can be muffled, you are not able to talk so much. So all this has to be considered and has to be taken care when you are attending a patient in palliative. The third one is management of agitation. This is the end of life. Patients are agitated. Very, very pathetic scene for even for a healthcare worker to, or very pathetic situation for even healthcare workers to go through. So how do we manage now? If patient is able to swallow, we give lorazepam 0.5 to 1 milligram BD or sublingually, or a clonazepam 0.5 to 5 milligrams BD. If not, midazolam can be given as bolus or SOS. If the agitation is moderate, then we can start as usual. We can start with a continuous infusion of midazolam, or if it is not settling, then we can add on haloperidol 0.5 milligrams every 15 minutes, and then SOS can be, that is if necessary, or 1.5 to 5 milligrams over 24 hours can also be given. So when the symptoms are intractable or severe symptoms, if with all these symptoms are there still there, then we can escalate the dose of haloperidol to 20 milligrams and escalate the dose of midazolam to 30 milligrams through continuous infusion over 24 hours can be given. Here, the one thing we can mix, we can combine to a single infusion, haloperidol as well as to a single infusion, and can be given. So with all this, patients are there. We cannot be wait. Patients, when patients are put on opioids, invariably the side effects of the opioids has to be kept in your mind. Opioid gives relief of some kind of suffering. At the same time, it gives some kind of other symptoms. It can be a nausea, vomiting. It can be constipation. It can be itching. So when you start a morphine or a fentanyl, start with an metoclopramide or an anti-emetic drug. Metoclopramide 10 milligrams 8 hourly or a haloperidol also relieves the nausea vomiting symptom. So constipation is one of the very commonest side effects of opioids, especially morphine. So whenever you start giving morphine, along with that you start off a stimulant laxative, that is tablet Biscodil 10 milligrams per orally at bedtime, or on the same day of starting it has to be started same day of starting the opioids. So oral morphine can be administered in the same dose. If patients are not able to swallow, we can give it per rectally, or if IV morphine is not available, oral can be given per rectally if IV is not available. If he is not able to manage, then we can contact a palliative care or a critical care settings. So one thing we have to remember is morphine conversion dose. 60 milligrams of oral morphine is equivalent to 25 micrograms of fentanyl. If you are giving morphine, you want to change over to fentanyl. This conversion should be used. If it is 60, if it is 30 milligrams of morphine, if you are giving, we can bring it to 12.5 micrograms of fentanyl. That is how we can be converted and tried. But all the side effects has to be taken into consider of the oral opioids, and opioids has to be, the side effects has to be treated accordingly. So with this, we know what is palliative care in COVID-19 patients. COVID-19 patients at the end of life care have the equal rights to get the symptoms relieved. It is a human right, and it is a fundamental duty to relieve their suffering by controlling their symptoms, as we are the only people available for them around physically, not their family. That has to be always kept in mind. We are the only family to the COVID-19 patients at their end of life. So we have to consider it. We have to give them a dignity of death is very, very important. We have to give them a peaceful death, and we have to give them all the care regardless of the chances of survival. The end of life care is very, very important even in COVID-19 patients. Thank you all for your patient listening.